What's up, ecosystem? Welcome back to ATI Auto Business Tuesday Nights Live. My name is Jay. Top auto logistics video news connecting retail, wholesale, logistics, and tech, and your auto transport community media since 2017. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us again on a Tuesday night. Please do click like, share, and copy that YouTube link. Send it to a friend. Let somebody know that we're on tonight. Here's what we're going to do. Tonight's show, please do feel welcome to ATI. We're going to go into auto logistics news here in a minute. Used car market headwinds. OPENLANE buys Manheim, Canada. FMCSA on unrated carrier safety. We have a feature interview with Joe Overby of Auto Remarketing. And we're going to bring in Nick Zulovich of Auto Remarketing as well. So we have a full show, which we want to get to as soon as we can. Please do jump into the live chat. Please do say hello. What's up, car hauling with Chip? Oh, I think I did find the bell. What's up, Michael at Peach Transport? Michael's going to be on the show on Thursday, so stick around for that. Let's jump into some industry news here. Tonight's show, Tuesday Nights Live, number 323 in a row on a Tuesday. We have Joe Overby of Auto Remarketing. Really excited to have Joe on the show tonight. So, you know Auto Remarketing magazine. I'd love to know, what articles do you read? How often do you read it? I check it every day. And a lot of news that you see on ATI comes from Auto Remarketing magazine. And there's a lot of different types of news. In fact, Cherokee Media, in print, online, in person, Cherokee Media does a lot. And over the years, I've gotten to know many people at Cherokee Media. Look, this is the used car week photo that we all look forward to at the end of used car week. Bill Zedite's in the middle there. And, I mean, it's quite a crew to get to know and all the things that they do. So shout out and, hats off to you. Used car week, Cherokee Media, Auto Remarketing. What an amazing organization. And you know the podcast. There's Nick and Joe with the Auto Remarketing podcast. So tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about some articles and some news, as well as the events and panels. There's a lot to discover. If you have a question for Auto Remarketing, Cherokee Media, or Nick or Joe, please do put it in the live chat. And if you miss this show live, you can view it on demand, of course. Put it in the comments below. You know the drill. All right. Now, I just wanted to mention, this is a lot of companies that you're going to recognize many of these companies. This is from the most recent Used Car Week email with sponsors on it. I like to look and see, who are the companies that are going to be there, that are sponsoring, that are involved. That's a lot to manage and a lot of knowledge surrounding all those companies, their milestones, the people, and already, Used Car Week is in the rearview mirror, and now we're already looking forward to Auto Intel Summit in April. All of those things can come into play tonight. There's Bill's post on LinkedIn about Auto Intel Summit call for speakers. I was telling the group at Cherokee Media that at Used Car Week that it's amazing how, I don't know how they put it all together. It's a heck of a news organization. And even just getting ready for the show tonight, caught a minute of CBS, when they start the show and all the news articles they're going to talk about tonight. Like, how do you manage all that? I mean, I work really hard on this channel, and I'm a one-man band. But at that level, I don't know. That's why I get excited about, I made a video about this thing. Trade show gold. These things are trade show gold. And in fact, I'm keeping that handy because I want to ask Nick some questions about some of his panels. I just want to share this again too. This was an interview that I did, a video interview that I did with Mike Trudeau at Montway at his booth at Used Car Week. And it's amazing the power of just one video. Like, this video is blowing up. Thank you so much, Montway, for sharing it. And for giving a shout out to ATI. It's wonderful stuff. Really appreciate it. So we're the ecosystem's neutral zone, ATI Auto Business. You'll find us in the middle of transportation, carriers, brokers, dealers, auctions, and everything in between. So thanks for tuning in. Really do appreciate it. The ecosystem, new and used, OEMs, man. And NADA is coming up. And you know what? When we get closer to NADA, do you know what we see more of? OEMs, new cars, and then franchise and retail. So that all gets talked about. And you know, on ATI, we'll make the rounds on all the different topics in the ecosystem. Website traffic data last Tuesday night. I'm sure there were a couple people that, you know, watch occasionally that thought, man, I'm really going to talk about websites, but you know how important that traffic data is. 2 weeks ago, we did podcast stage pointers. Again, coming back to a used car week, there was a podcast stage, etc. I just find that these topics all intersect, whether you are, that's why I say the disconnect between sales and operations, because somebody sells it, somebody fulfills it, and then all the other stuff that happens around it. Last Thursday, we did repo car hauling with Rob. That show's doing pretty well. There's a lot of interest, of course, in how do I make a transportation business successful and what is going on with auto repo. Is it something I want to be involved with? So you can learn more on that show. Now it's time to get to the news. Great. It's only 5 minutes after. Perfect. Here we go. Top news story tonight on Auto Logistics News on ATI Auto Business. This comes out of Vehicle Remarketing Magazine. Shout out to Martin Romju. And actually, so this is written by Brian Finkelmeyer. And I had a conversation with Brian. And lucky to have Brian on next month, I believe, on ATI. 3 headwinds that will batter the auto industry. The auto industry has been sailing for the past 3 years with forceful tailwinds generated by COVID-induced economic stimulus and reduced vehicle production. Automakers and dealers have enjoyed turning limited inventories into quick, huge margins, storing stock prices. But as we approach the final weeks of 2023, with the pandemic now in the rearview mirror, the winds are changing direction. Even Wall Street, which pumped stocks during 21 and 22, beginning to have more of a tepid outlook. And so as we set sail into 2024, 3 dynamics creating new headwinds. Electric vehicle adoption, everybody's talking about it, much slower than expected. Profit margins not so great. The new UAW labor agreement squeeze into future profit margins. You'll read, in fact, we've got later in the news more about UAW, and the big 3 are saying no problem. But it's a lot of money. And then the rising cost of borrowing money due to high interest rates impacting customers, dealers, automakers. In fact, GM announced abandoning its goal of producing 400,000 EVs by mid-2024, postponing $4 billion EV truck plant. Ford is postponing $12 billion worth of planned EV investment. Honda just announced they're canceling the partnership with GM. Head of Toyota, took us 25 years. We're still not at 10% hybrid. Consumers not demanding EV at the level expected. EV transition is going to be a drag on the U.S. auto market for years to come. It's a bummer of a headwind. UAW pulled off historic victory for their members with wage increases upwards of 60% for new hires. That is a lot. That can add $850, $900 additional cost to every vehicle Ford produces. So you think that's going to have an impact somewhere. Labor costs will rise for all automakers. In fact, UAW is targeting non-union automakers now. We're going to read about that in a minute. Cox Automotive reports that new vehicle inventories were up 62% versus last year. So we are hearing that inventory levels are coming back. We'll probably be talking about that more tonight. Vehicles are turning slower. Cost of carrying them is higher. So now you have that floor planning issue. 61% of dealers said interest rates were the number one issue holding their business back. Consumers also felt the pain of rising rates, and the average new car interest rate for consumers is now about 9%. Ouch. In other news, OPENLANE. This is big news everywhere. You look everywhere, and you'll see that OPENLANE agrees to acquire Manheim, Canada, which is interesting. OPENLANE was Car Global. OPENLANE has agreed to acquire Manheim, Canada, from Cox Automotive, $130 million deal, 95, that's Canadian, 95 US, 95 million. This includes Manheim, Montreal facility, auction sales operations, select staff across Manheim, Canada. Manheim plans to exit Canada. OPENLANE's vision to build the world's greatest digital marketplace for used vehicles, which is a hot, competitive market. And here in blue, building on the momentum of our combined single OPENLANE Canada digital marketplace launch in June. Okay, this is a benchmark. This was in June. OPENLANE announcement, I believe, was in June. What, 6 months ago? Let's put a pin in that. As part of the deal, OPENLANE is taking on Manheim Canada's customer relationship. Once the deal closes, OPENLANE will integrate Manheim Canada's business into OPENLANE Canada business. This is a developing story. So again, just a reminder, that was May. Oh, there we go. May, where Car Global rebranded as OPENLANE 7 months ago. Man, they're moving quick. Cox Automotive will discontinue all Canadian wholesale auction operations as Manheim's locations Toronto, Halifax, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Alberta, British Columbia, those locations are not part of the transaction, but they're closing all their wholesale in Canada. The transaction was not something Cox Automotive had been planning, but received an unsolicited offer. Wow. That's interesting. Wow. And ADESA rebrands OPENLANE in Europe. So OPENLANE everywhere. Oh, look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. Thanks, Mark. Making martinis in the live chat. Thank you so much, buddy. Appreciate that. There we go. STELLA. Now, I've been talking about STELLA periodically. STELLA AI. Stick with me. This is, STELLA is a AI voice. All right? STELLA AI launches integration with myKaarma fixed ops platform. Okay? Fixed ops service, right? Which is a profit center for dealers. STELLA Automotive AI has completed an intelligent read-write integration with end-to-end service department platform myKaarma. Okay, that's what myKaarma is. End-to-end service department platform. And this is designed to allow STELLA to operate seamlessly within a dealership's fixed ops platform, service department, scheduling. Think about it, right? Service is a lot of logistics too. So, STELLA uses conversational AI to manage data input and operational processes like a service advisor. The company said will give dealerships the myKaarma platform an elevated level of customer service. Booking, AI digital voice assistant designed to answer every inbound call the first ring 24/7, eliminating hold times and allowing a customer to schedule appointments within 2 minutes. If she's that good, this will be great because STELLA's digital voice assistant addresses a fundamental challenge faced by dealers, and that is the phone. And if STELLA can transform the phone for a dealership in the service department, think of what she can do for you and your business. Wow. STELLA, ladies and gentlemen. Next story. Feds told to start rating unrated trucking companies for safety. Doing what? Okay, sounds boring, right? Check this out. Major trucking companies and brokers who book their freight are pressuring the FMCSA to attach a safety rating to carriers operating without a rating. A situation that exists for over 90% of the freight market. What? FMCSA's own statistics red flags the problem. Of the 690,000 interstate freight carriers, roughly 94% don't have a rating. There's all carriers. You can see all carriers. What? That's crazy. That seems unbelievable. That can't be right. A system that rates less than 10% of the eligible population is unacceptable. The TIA, Transportation Intermediaries Association, supports a speedy rulemaking because one of the most significant challenges for the third-party logistics industry is the manner in which motor carrier safety ratings are currently being used by personal injury lawyers, insurers, and the media, among others. And besides the lawyers and the media, I mean, they're just getting killed. And this is why, we do this on Thursdays. We talk about how, it's trucking, it's transportation, nobody cares. There's no way a carrier with that's unrated and doesn't care is listening to anybody. And they're just running around delivering stuff. Okay. All right. Final story. UAW's Sean Fain does not plan to rest on his laurels after winning record contracts. He's got bigger plans for the union. Got my attention. He's sitting there with a wastebasket full of crumpled up Big Three proposals. It's pretty good marketing. New UAW unionizing drive targets 13 union automakers. Wow. Okay. The UAW is aiming to organize nearly 150,000 employees at 13 companies, which would double the number of auto workers in the union. Targeted automakers include foreign firms such as BMW, Nissan, EV makers Rivian, Lucid. So they unveiled a website where workers can sign union cards online, get in touch with organizers. The UAW has already signed up thousands of workers across targeted companies. Whoa. Under U.S. law, if the majority of employees at a workplace sign union cards, the company can either voluntarily recognize the union or instead insist on a government-supervised unionized election. Ooh, both sound great. Oh, man. Because, Tesla's non-union, right? GM Ford confident they'll offset costly UAW contracts. Ford pegged the UAW deal at, oh my gosh, costing upwards of $9 billion. GM, another $9 billion. And yet, dividends? All right. Well, you got to do what you got to do. Remember, leverage ATI in your business. Don't ship cars. Move information with ATI. There's a lot of companies shipping cars, and so we can talk about it on ATI along with everything else. Do me a favor. Grab your favorite glass of ELD Punch and stick around because right after this, we're going to bring in Joe Overby of Auto Remarketing. You don't want to miss it.
Are you completely stressed out from all the calls and the contracts and the verifications of loads where nobody ever answers the phone? Call Murphy Auto Dispatch Services today. Murphy Auto Dispatch Services has over 15 years in the transport industry. We are your office while you are on the road. We book, we verify, and we bill out your loads for you. We have an excellent accounting staff and an even better dispatch team. Give us a call today at 417-273-0021, or if you want to email me, it's murphyautotransport31@yahoo.com. Give us a call today.
Transport Auto Quoter is by far the leading auto quoting software on the market and the only auto quoter with a pro version that comes preset with accurate pricing for anywhere in the U.S. So you don't have to worry about it. The best part is that no change with your current software is needed. Just plug TAQ in and start booking jobs. Carriers can easily plug TAQ into their current websites and start making money right away. I bet you're wondering how we do this instantly and accurately 24/7. Well, constant analytics is the key. Our Price Watch team is constantly monitoring current market conditions, paying close attention to seasonal and quick-moving industry changes. At the end of the day, it takes a lot of time and data to maintain good pricing, time that most of us just don't have on a daily basis. So free yourself up. Using TAQ Pro is really a no-brainer. Save time and money, maximizing your leads and optimizing your online investments. You'll finally be able to sleep well at night knowing that TAQ is on the job selling for you 24/7. Never missing a potential job.
Don't lose any more sleep worrying about missing leads. Get Transport Auto Quoter. Quote the right price the first time, anytime. Run your business with TAQ. Visit transportautoquoter.com. Links are in the live chat. Thank you so much. All right, here we go. We have Joe Overby. Drum roll, please. All right, Joe, you're live.
Jay, good to see you. Thank you for having me on the show. It's always good to talk with you, man.
Wow, it's great to have you on. I'm going to give you an applause now. There'll probably be more. It's really neat to have you on my channel live. And do me a favor. Say hello. For anyone that isn't familiar with you and what you do, please say hello and tell us a bit more about you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as Jay mentioned, I'm Joe Overby. I'm the senior editor for auto remarketing at Cherokee Media Group. And as Jay couldn't have said it better in the intro, we're all about online, in print, and in person. And the stories that me and my colleagues Nick Zulovich and Andy Friedlander write on a daily basis for our e-newsletters and our website. We turn those into magazine stories, and then at events like Used Car Week and Auto Intel Summit, we take those stories and the topics that we're reporting on and help to put together the agendas and have those discussions in person and with panelists and with speakers. So it's at Cherokee Media Group we've got a fleet of automotive industry publications, and then a few local magazines here in the Raleigh, North Carolina area. And we've got a PR firm that actually has a few clients in automotive as well, and they were on site at Used Car Week as well. But my role really is to report on the retail and wholesale used car business and kind of lead the AR part of the business, and my colleague Nick handles the auto finance side of the business, and then we also have a Canadian publication, AR Canada, and I work pretty closely with our freelancer correspondent Sarah Rubinoff, who's been reporting on Canada for some time, and we cover the retail and wholesale and auto finance markets in Canada as well.
So that's a lot. Okay. I took some notes, trying to follow along to make sure, I understand. I mean, right, because you've got really big picture. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Cherokee Media Group, big picture. There's a lot. I mean, I think as you're saying, there's a lot more beyond just automotive. Right?
There is. I mean, yes, we have several local publications, and it's just sort of all encompassing between automotive and several local publications as well.
But here we're focused on automotive, right? And so
Exactly.
Used Car Week, Auto Intel Summit, those are
Mm-hmm.
the major events, right?
And then we have Canada's Used Car Week
And then Canada as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, Canada has one annual event, the Canada Used Car Week.
We do. So we split it up.
Like, that's not enough, right?
Right. We split it up seasonally. So we're, right now we just finished Used Car Week a couple weeks ago. We just opened the call for speakers for Auto Intel Summit. That's going to be in April in Raleigh, North Carolina. And then, we'll from kind of after the holidays, we'll kind of go full force into planning Auto Intel Summit. And then, as we get further into the spring, we'll start the discussions and call for speakers and all that for Canada's Used Car Week, and that's in June. And we've had it in Toronto for several years now. But and then after that wraps up, we really kind of in the second half of the year, just because of the size of it, is really dedicated to planning and getting set for Used Car Week. So it used to be that when I first started on the agenda team and working with the conference team, we would have conference meetings, and kind of we had one event at that point, just the Used Car Week, and Canada was every other year, and we would have conference team meetings probably for half the year, and now having 3 conferences that are sort of staggered throughout the year, it is the whole year is conference planning season. So in addition to the editorial side, the conference agenda planning and getting that set is a big part of the work that myself and my colleagues do.
That's the thing is, I honestly, as I think about trying to wrap my head around, okay, 3 big conferences a year,
Mm-hmm.
plus all the articles that go into, I mean, you can go to autoremarketing.com, you can go there every day like I do, and there are a lot of updates.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, this is a fresh publication, the 3 events, plus then you go to other events. You've got podcasts, you've got articles you're working on behind the scenes. I mean, it seems like a lot to manage. I've met many folks in your team, and I mean, everybody's got to be really busy.
Yeah, and the cool part about it is that I think if you look at our team, and especially under the leadership of Bill and our executive vice president of meetings and events, Amanda Dunlap, because of their leadership, it's very much like everybody understands their job, their role. So you have, it is a lot, but you have, um, you know, 16 people, upwards of 16 people doing, doing different tasks, for Nick and myself, for example, and Andy, our job is, when it comes to conferences, is the agenda. That is our main focus, whether it's planning agendas, getting a hold of lining up speakers, setting up panels, speaking on panels, that sort of thing. But we have, we have a singular focus. My colleagues on the advertising team, their job is to, manage those advertising relationships, sell sponsorships, so everybody has a specific role, and really, it's like a football team,
I was
fullback.
just gonna. I
Yeah.
swear, I was just gonna say football team. And then you've got your plays, and you need to switch out your running backs and your wide receivers, and you've just got a well-oiled machine. And there's Bill on the sidelines with the the color coded, right?
Bill in
This is
another life.
awesome.
In another life, Bill would have been a football coach, I think. He uses a lot of and kind of literally coaching us, through a conference, planning and all that. He uses a lot of football analogies. So right now we're starting the first quarter of.
He calls audibles, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, sometimes there's audibles that are called,
I'm sure there are.
It's and both Nick and I and Andy are all former sports writers, so we kind of understand all the analogies to football and all that. So.
Then I showed, I was like, oh, I want to just a glimpse of the companies, not to mention, my trade show gold over here. That, I mean, this is a lot to manage. You don't even have time to be stressed out. There's so much going on.
Yeah, just kind of keep your head down and keep going. Just do your job every day.
For real.
And that's another thing too, that we've really, I think our team kind of takes away from Bill is that, just do today. Just, you got create a checklist of stuff you need to get done. My day today was, as you referenced earlier, the OPENLANE purchase of Manheim, Canada. My job today mainly was to focus on that story and do some follow-up reporting on there. Just worry about today and do the job in front of you. So, and that, even if you have a lot of pots going at the same time, just kind of focus on what your task is at hand that day.
Well, and all industries, you've got day-to-day changes, challenges, etc. In media, you just got to be ready for the next story. It's coming any moment now.
Yeah.
And that's why you got to be super organized, right? What else does it take? I
mean, organization is one, and that's something that the organization has never been my strong suit. So it's been a lot of I have like running. I have become, I think, better, but I have running checklists of stuff that I need to get done, or these are emails I need to do for conferences. I'll kind of carving out time, and time management really.
That's another big one. Good one. Time management. That's it.
Yeah, that's along the lines of organization, but knowing, and one of the beauties of having a routine with this job is that I know that, say, tomorrow, I know that tomorrow I'll have X amount of time where I can work on this one project and just use that time for this project, and then I know Thursday that I'll have another set of tasks that I need to do. And so, but yeah, time management is definitely key at a media company.
I just want to say that, anybody thinking of putting together an event, if you walk around the Cherokee Media event, you'll notice how much really goes into it, and you'll also, if you think about it, you're noticing how much you don't see behind the scenes. You just see that it all came together. But if you were to think about all the moving pieces, all the panels, the audience, the attendees, the location itself, the schedule, the signage, the information, I mean, it's endless.
Yeah.
And it really impresses me.
Well, it's one of those things too where it's kind of a long time ago. Our president emeritus, founder of the company, Ron Smith, he would tell us that the stuff that happens behind the scenes that you think like, oh, it may seem like you're putting out a million different fires, and you think that the sky's falling, but the attendees, they see the final product. They see like they may have no idea that you're like a duck going across water where they're kicking their feet like crazy underneath, but you just see the gliding across the surface. That's a great point. I mean, just the fact that there's so much that goes on behind the scenes, but as we want to have our attendees see a quality and excellent final product.
I keep talking about the event, but I know we've got some news articles.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at some of what keeps you busy day to day. Let's see here. This is an article. Tell us more about this article.
Yeah, absolutely. So the team over at IC Cars, they do a really good job of tracking, like newer used vehicles and how their prices trend, and they really go pretty deep on used electric vehicles. And what we've found is that the prices have gone further down, way further than the average in the market. And the story you have up there shows, a 1 to 5 year old used car, the price was down 5.1% year over year. Well, used electric vehicles were down 34% or close to it. And hybrids, not to that degree, but it's still 9.6%, which is still larger than the industry average. And kind of the thing that stuck out to me was that even with those lower prices, because I always have assumed that one of the biggest hurdles to EV sales was price. It was just too expensive, and but even with those lower prices, the used EVs are not turning quickly at all. And so the Carl Brower has a great quote in here. He says the combination of lower prices and slower sales suggests that EVs have hit a market demand threshold that will be difficult to break through. Everything from economic concerns to growing competition among electric vehicles is contributing to their downward trend. And I think that's while this is specifically talking about used electric vehicles, I think they're experiencing some of the similar challenges on the new car side, and that's part of why you probably saw several stories last week that came out about dealers across the country are asking the federal government, specifically wrote to the White House, asking President Biden to reconsider some of the EV mandates, because I think dealers are kind of in a pinch where they're not seeing the demand that some of these mandates might suggest. I think it's good to have options. I think there may need to be some flexibility. Dealers need to be able to sell electric vehicles. They need to know what to do with used electric vehicles, and getting into auctions, and the differences of selling and reconditioning and transporting and everything with a used EV is different than an ICE vehicle. But I think I don't think that the demand right now, based on this data, is showing that that it's not going to be an overnight flip of a switch from EV to ICE. I think that's just important that they have that option to sell customers.
Isn't it interesting that, so as a media organization, helping to get that information out and then to also be the one that, has the interview and edits the information and shares the information, it's pretty cool.
Mhm.
Tell me more about this article. I found this one interesting.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. We got an invite up to Oxford, North Carolina, which is not far from where we are. We're in Raleigh, and Oxford's about an hour north, not too far from Durham and the Research Triangle Park for folks who are familiar with our region. But essentially, so A.I.M Recon, they're a sister company, a separate standalone sister company to Auction Direct, which has got a big presence here in the Raleigh area. They had a grand opening of their first ever vehicle reconditioning center, and it's in a former tobacco production facility. And essentially, what happens is, that their CEO Tim Frank, explained to me, it's like a box. The vehicle comes in through various channels. They buy them from digital auto auctions, physical auctions, customer trades, that sort of thing. And then they basically do all of the recon, from, from paint to, paint, the dent repair, mechanical work, body work. Then they have a partnership with Advanced Auto Parts, and where they literally have like a little mini like part store within this facility. So they have the parts on site. That they can use.
Oh, I get
Yeah,
it now. I didn't. Oh, wow.
yeah. So they have. It's almost
Oh,
like that. There's like an
that's
Advanced
smart.
Auto Parts kind of warehouse embedded within this facility. And then also, Advance has a big presence here in North Carolina, and so if they can't get the part there, they can get it from one of the local stores. And then, once everything's complete, their other partner is ACV,
I
which is
saw
a
that. You're
big,
right.
obviously a big player in the space, and the vehicles are then sold. Right now, they're transitioning to a private label platform on ACV. Um, I think little inside baseball. At first blush, I was kind of like, okay, is this like another online platform, like a eBlock or ACV type of platform? And Tim Frank, he emphasizes we are not we're not a platform. That's not what we do. We're here to make the supply
Where it's
chain
reconditioning
piece
in a
of, yeah,
box.
yeah, make that
Turnkey
seamless.
reconditioning.
Yeah, exactly. So that
Yeah. Oh,
their dealer customers can buy from a retail ready car. And, the benefit for a dealer, from what I understand, a benefit for a dealer buying from them is that they don't have to then incur all that reconditioning time and, cost and labor and all that. They're just a car that
right.
is
Taking
retail
up their
ready.
service department
Right. Exactly.
and all the.
And they
Yeah.
also they sell wholesale and um, retail ready vehicles.
Interesting. And what's the name of the company? A.I.M?
Yeah, it's A.I.M Recon, and
AIM Recon. Okay.
I believe their website is aimrecon.com. But um,
Oh, I'm going to
but
Google it too. aimrecon.com. Let's see if that comes up. All right, let's do this. Go and do that. It's not resolving. So I will pause on that. But this is what's so interesting about these articles. You dive into them, and discussing it's actually interesting. This is
mhm.
interesting experiment here. How about this one?
Yeah, so that the CPO has been kind of a pleasant surprise for dealers and the used car market. I mean, I think early in the year, it didn't, the forecast that Cox Automotive had was that, um, they were looking for it to be about, um, I think 2.2 was their initial.
Oh,
I'll
yeah,
have to
right. Let's see. Okay,
fact check
so
on that.
October surprise.
Yeah, exactly. But then now they're on track to reach 2.7 million, which would still be one of the biggest years of all time for the
Hmm.
CPO market. I mean, it's down from the highs reached in 2019, which I think was at the time the 10th straight record CPO sales year. Um, you know, it kind of hit the fan in 2020, and then 21
Right.
and 22. There's been a little bit of a bounce back, improvement
Well, in
this year.
2020, people would buy anything.
Right,
Right.
right.
And CPO, for anybody, certified pre-owned, which is a pretty big deal. I like this. That's why I like to highlight some of these boxes. Consumers may have chosen new over nearly new. Interesting way of pointing that out, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I wonder too if part of that is that prices have come down. At some point with the run up of used car prices,
Mm-hmm.
it really wasn't advantageous to buy a nearly new vehicle when it was just as expensive to buy a new vehicle. Why not just go buy a new vehicle, right? But I think with the easing in used car prices, still at pretty high levels, historic levels, but I think with that gap, there was another story at some point. I think we talked about that there's now more of a reasonable gap between new car prices and used car prices to where it actually is a value proposition to buy used.
And yet, when you go to the car payment itself,
Hmm.
right, and you're looking at the interest rate, it seems like I'm just speculating, but is the affordability overall tougher on the average middle income car buyer,
I think
given
so.
all the economic factors as well, right?
Yeah, I think so, and I think because people people by nature are still monthly payment shoppers. Um, the while the average price of a car may have come down, number one, it's still high. Number two, the interest rates and the inflation kind of hurts that monthly payment. Um, I mean, our my colleague Nick does a lot of reporting on kind of a monthly or quarterly. This is what people paid on average for a used car, or new car in their finance contracts, and we just
Right.
marveled at how much it goes up every month, how much people are paying to get in a car. I mean, and especially when things like the tough economic environment of the past 3-4 years has hurt. It may hurt credit scores. It may put people in financially tough situations where they're forced, if they want to get a car, they're forced to have a high monthly payment. And so I think there's a lot of that going on.
Be a perfect segue to bring in Nick, and I just was going to say auto repossession is on the rise, being talked about so much. As we move in and talk about Nick, oh, by the way, Chris Chamberlain, shout out Chris Chamberlain in the live chat. He went ahead and clarified that, yeah, you can go to AIMRecon.com, and I shared it in the live chat. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate that. So let's do this. We're going to bring in Nick, and we're going to talk a little bit about what is the state of the used car industry report. You've got stuff happening in December, stuff happening in January, of course. Maybe we'll shed a little light on that. Talk more about events. So do me a favor, stick around, because we're going to be back right after this with Nick Zulovich. And all right, stick around.
Yeah, so let's be honest with it. Everybody, as an operator, like myself, we're always looking to save expense, okay? And so if I can get a product that is just as efficient as another product and yet save a ton of money, that's what I'm going to do. And so I think the value proposition that Dealerslink offers is unmatched, right? For what we spend on Dealerslink, for what we get from Dealerslink, full spectrum, the marketplace's support, the OEM data, the Fastbook tool, the mobile applications that you have. The value proposition is huge. And I definitely would recommend, I have recommended, we are continuing to install it into our stores as we speak.
Request a live demo at dealerslink.com now.
Are you ready to take a leap into the future of vehicle logistics? Auto Hauler Exchange is the first pure B2B marketplace in vehicle logistics, where shippers and carriers live and work directly in one ecosystem with no middleman. Shippers simply post their shipping opportunities directly to highly vetted carriers around the country. Once a carrier sees a shipment opportunity which fits their need, they simply check that shipment out of the exchange with just a few clicks of a button and with no third-party interaction, getting your vehicle on the road with ease. We have proven our B2B marketplace is a more efficient, transparent model for vehicle logistics, where shippers and carriers connect one-on-one. Take it from our clients themselves. Get off the vehicle hauling roller coaster today with Auto Hauler Exchange.
Auto Hauler Exchange B2B marketplace connects shippers directly with carriers. That means putting the power of the business transaction back in the carrier's hands. Visit autohaulerexchange.com. Links are in the live chat. All right, we are lucky to have Joe Overby stick around for another segment because Nick Zulovich is now joining us. Here we go. Drum roll, please. Ladies and gentlemen, please help wish a very warm welcome to Nick Zulovich.
Hello, everyone.
Nick, how are you doing?
Doing very well. Thanks again for having me.
Man, thank you so much. All right, as we did with Joe, do me a favor. For anyone that's not familiar with who you are, please say hello and tell us a little bit more about you.
Absolutely. Again, my name is Nick Zulovich, part of the team at Cherokee Media Group. Blessed to say, quickly approaching 17 years with the company now, part of the automotive content team that's helps to generate, as my esteemed colleague Joe articulated so well in the previous segments, our print content, online podcasts, and live events. So it's very much complementary pieces to keep the industry educated on what's happening, be it dealerships, auto auctions, finance companies, and the service providers that have clients in each of those wells of the business. Joe did an excellent job articulating what our shop does. The one thing I will add is we were blessed to have our company holiday dinner just last night, and a lot of the key teammates that are vital cogs in making sure all of that is orchestrated. Our fearless leader, Bill, had people stand up depending on how long you've been with the company. And the majority of that team has been with Cherokee Media Group 10 years or longer. So that's a critical piece of why we can orchestrate what we're blessed to be able to do, is because there's a lot of wisdom, experience, and cohesion that goes into it. And that, as being an expert in logistics, Jay, if you have a cohesive team that's experienced and knows each other well, that machine can function much better than having a team that's not as familiar with each other. So that's wow. A very, very much a key ingredient to the success we're blessed to have.
I'm jealous. That's awesome. That must have been an awesome event. That was last night.
It was. We're
Wow.
we're blessed to have
Cool.
a company gathering this time of year where everyone brings their significant others if opportunity presents itself, and be able to break bread and enjoy each other's company. So again, that's very much a key ingredient to what we have at Cherokee Media Group.
That is neat. That is neat. Well, and that makes sense how, I mean, really, to put to put your arms around all that you do. And I it's important to point out because I think, pop-up events, I hear that term more often. You might too. And what if I was asked, I would say you don't know all that goes into just, if you even just want to put 20 people together for an hour, it's somewhere. That's so much work. And you've got hundreds converging, and then expo booths and sessions and attendees and events, and I mean it blows my mind, really. It does.
And don't forget food and beverage.
Oh, food. How could I? There's a photo. I think there's like one photo of me in the used car week photos, and I'm eating. Jonathan, the photographer, I saw him, and I'm like, fine, I'll just go for it. But yeah, no, the food, oh my gosh, it's amazing. Yeah, without the food, I mean, what would we do?
If anybody knows my physique, I don't function well with an empty tummy. So.
I told somebody, I think it was Shelly from Agora Data, that I feel like I'm like, in the movie Wedding Crashers, and he wants the crab cakes. That's me.
Oh.
So, well, I mean, right?
You'll be glad to know we had crab cakes at our company party.
Oh man, of course you did. It's North Carolina. Get out of here. Oh man. Next year. So all right, so the events now, okay, I was saying this. All right. In my trade show gold. All right, I was looking. So your name's on many panels, but you had to switch things up. You had to call an audible this year. Nick, how many panels did you moderate?
I think it ended up being 10 or 11 or so, but definitely the credit for success goes to my esteemed colleague who set me up for success, did all of the legwork going into the event. So I was just lucky enough to be handed a microphone and walk up with the very smart men and women who are on stage and just kind of tee them up and get out of the way.
Yeah, and I'm gonna let you take that, but it's much, it's hard. It's hard work. You got to know what you're talking about. You got to be on your toes. You got to be well rested. You got to know who everybody is. That alone, right? Introducing who everybody is and moderating and listening and making sure everybody's involved. I mean, it's a lot. It's like anything else, just it's a lot more than you realize. And you did a great job.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Very, very kind of you to say.
It's good stuff. Really good stuff. So, all right, subprime finance. Tell us something that, I don't know. What's an overview of how do you explain to somebody nuts and bolts what that is, your kind of forte there?
Well, I think as the adjective indicates, at subprime, you're an individual is on the lower half of the credit spectrum. You have what's classified as super prime individuals. These are folks who have a credit score that's almost within that top percentile. They use very little of their available credits. They maintain whatever commitments that they do have with sterling commitments and manage they've been blessed to be able to manage their finances well. And it goes on down the spectrum depending on a host of factors. Again, how much credit you utilize, how well you've been able to maintain your payments, and that sort of thing. And there are some folks who've experienced circumstances beyond their control. Perhaps they've lost their gainful employment and have hit a financial rough patch and haven't been able to maintain their financial commitments, and that would ding their credits backgrounds. And then there are some that, good, bad, or otherwise, just make poor life choices. We'll put it that way, and and their credits is as such reflecting that. So as a finance company, you gauge the risk profile of that individual. If they have a sterling background, you might offer them the best availability within your credit offerings. But if someone has what would be classified as subprime credits, they would be their interest rate might be higher. They're specifically talking in auto finance, their interest rate might be higher. They're asking for a down payment might be higher. Those type of elements to mitigate the risk that the finance company is taking on stemming from that person's background. So that's at a very, very high level, that's how it would be classified.
You're also involved in conversations of floor planning, right? Any part of the financial equation.
Sure,
Is that
sure.
somewhere
Be
you
it
find yourself?
floor
right?
planning, or what's certainly a very key element of throughout the business is compliance, maintaining the rules and the mandates asked of by state and federal regulators. That could be
Right.
a whole separate
I saw that.
events and endeavor.
State associations was a couple of the panels you did. CFPB, are we?
Indeed,
okay?
indeed. Was able
And then
to
lenders, right? If it comes to lenders, and then moving into Auto Intel Summit Fintech.
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, there's a part of the constituency that they want to purchase have the entire vehicle transaction done with just their phone in their hands. They don't want to and just have the vehicle brought to them. So there's definitely,
Which sounds easy, but right when you go from what 2 to 4 hours with the finance department to right, I just want to. When can I leave? Can I hit the button? Right?
right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, guilty as charged,
Right.
going on that Amazon app
Sure.
is buy
Sure.
now, and then
Yeah.
it shows up on the front porch the next morning.
And then, not to mention, then you get into something like titling, which, right, that's not a total digital process.
It's not. It's getting there. That segment, that's an interesting. You bring that up. That's definitely if anyone's had to deal with the DMV in their in their life, be it the driver's license or what have you. No, it's not necessarily the most swimmingly functioning part of our government entity, and so the evolution of that part of the business has been really fascinating too, as kind of a state by state gradual adoption of electronic titling. It's that to move away from the actual physical paper and have it be an electronic, because be it to close out a lien, to transfer title from auction to dealer or dealer to dealer, whatever the case may be, if you don't have that vehicle title, you're kind of at a standstill.
All right, finish that sentence for me. The report coming out.
State of the used car market. I believe that's what we call it.
State of the used car market. Okay. Is it an annual report?
We do it twice a year. We do it twice a year.
Twice a year. Okay. And so the December edition's coming out soon. That's one of the things coming out soon.
It is. It is. Well, it's a bonus for Cherokee Media Group Premium.
I was just gonna say I'm on that
member.
list.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know.
Like, for example, the piece of content that you and Joe referenced earlier about EV prices, and the great in-depth piece that Joe compiled just today with comments from Peter Kelly about the OPENLANE acquisition of Manheim, Canada. That's content that's we put all of our resources into, and so we have that for premium members. And then the state of the used car market biannual white paper reports. It can be purchased by anyone, but if you're already a Cherokee Media Group premium member, you get that as part of your package.
So what we're talking about, what you want to do, I've done this, but I can't remember where I clicked. But anyways, you want to be a CMG premium member. And what you're doing is you're subscribing to the magazine, right? Or tell me what I'm stumbling around. What better words could I have used to say what I want you to do? I want you to go to autoremarketing.com and you subscribe to the magazine. Is that where you go? I think that's where you go.
So if you go to autoremarketing.com,
Okay.
and then there is if you're not already a member, you can go. There's a tab where you can.
But I am a member. Otherwise,
Oh,
maybe
okay.
I'd see it, right? If I wasn't a member,
Yeah,
I'd see it.
exactly. Yeah, there's a tab that'll pop up, and you know it gives you it shows you your options of membership. You can either do an individual membership or there's a discounted corporate membership for, I think it's, if say, if you're at an auto auction and you want to have all of your employees as premium members, as long as there's 25 or more, there's a discount on that. And then, essentially what it does is it gives you access to kind of the more in-depth stories, some of the stories that will generate from, conferences and from used car week panels and that sort of thing, and we also tend to put our print stories. So for example, the NAAA issue that we're going to be working on here soon, will come out in late January, but we'll put some of those stories online first, so premium members will get to see them early. But as Nick mentioned, the State of the Used Car Industry report is distributed to CMG premium members for free. And our title, we come up with like a general theme for each of these reports, and this year is called A New Season for the Used Car Market. And so just kind of playing off the fact that we're transitioning into winter here, and a new year, and just a lot of changes in the used car market. But in the past we've done kind of centered the report around mergers and acquisitions that have happened in the industry, I think one of our early ones was on the digitization of the industry, digital retail, wholesale, finance, just like we do for our conferences and our publications, we divide it up into 4 sections: retail, wholesale, auto finance, and collections and recovery. I sort of specialize in the retail and wholesale. Nick will specialize in the finance and the repossession and recovery piece of it. Kind of division of labor there, but we'll be working on that this week. And actually, Nick's ahead of the game. He already got his section done, and I got to get my tail in gear tomorrow and get my section done, and then we'll have it out. I believe middle of this month, mid to late month. I get for when people will start seeing that.
All right, cool. I'm only going to keep you a few more minutes, because then after that, and a lot goes into these reports. I mean, so whenever I can see a report, I want to check it out. So thanks for putting those reports together. Then in January, on the heels, what are we on the heels of in January?
The whole annual festivities of AFSA and NADA.
NADA.
Yeah.
I mean, that thing is huge. Talk about the coordination of a giant event. How do they even do that?
Man,
have you thought about what it takes to get all the cars and the booths in there and everything? How do they do that?
not only that, but then the what we call them in the biz, we call them ICWs, in conjunction withs. So you have not only the fact that NADA is holding their meeting, holding their large convention, there are other groups that are having conferences in conjunction with.
Right.
For example, and I said NAAA, they're doing their their second semester meeting, if you will, as in conjunction with NADA, and JD Power does an event as part of that, and and all the automakers have their meetings with
There's
dealers.
dinners and
I can't
meetings and
imagine.
events, right?
Yeah,
It's
just
like
all the side meetings.
it's like a instant automotive city for a weekend.
Yeah, it really is.
It's
And
crazy.
it kind of stretches into a whole week. Nick, I'll hand it over to Nick. I mean,
Yeah, you're
'cause
right. It is a week.
Nick, you're gonna go in there, early for the AFSA part of it, which kind of precedes NADA.
Right. AFSA, the American Financial Services Association, has its annual vehicle finance conference ahead of NADA, and they collaborate with NADA to a degree to have some dealers involved and such, and since captives certainly have a presence both in that organization and in auto financing in general. It's definitely a week-long deal. I don't just anecdotally. I'm thinking NADA has a team that works on that event solely. That's their entire job description. They probably
Yeah.
have just as many people, if not more, than our entire company who
Right,
has to,
right.
who literally has to be a part of that, to be able to, like you said, to get those vehicles, those car wash demos, those display lifts, all of those like huge things into whatever convention center. Because correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, it seems like there's only 3 or 4 cities in the entire country
Yeah.
that can host this event. Coming up, it's in Las Vegas again, but it's been year before that it was in Dallas for the first time, which was
Right.
a pleasant change. But like San Francisco, New Orleans, there's only but so many places it can physically be held.
Yeah. Yeah. With that amount of space and convention center size and the amount of hotels that are within a reasonable distance, of the convention center. Because there tens of thousands of people. I don't know. I mean, it's so many people. They take over an entire city, which is amazing. But
Yeah. It's amazing.
we will
All
have
right. So-
our January. I should mention our
Oh,
January issue, as we're dividing that up between the different publications within the overall magazine, will be on AFSA and NADA, and kind of looking ahead at what's in store for that convention.
all right. So we'll look for that. So I mean, it's nonstop. I mean,
Yeah.
right. Used Car Week was this giant event in automotive. I mean, everybody was talking about it. Really, it's you couldn't look somewhere without. I remember as it was gearing up. It's about a week before, and I mean, everybody's talking about Used Car Week. So I mean, all that goes into making the conference manual, getting everybody there for, and then that's why Bill. On the last day he's like only 20% left or whatever, because he knows how much is left in the gas tank to finish it off, and then it's over, and now you're on the state of the used car report, right? I mean, it's not like it ends. So
Well, thankfully, there's it always is nice to have that Thanksgiving break, kind of breaking up right after used car week, so you can kind of have a little bit of downtime and then sort of get right back after it to close the year.
well, I'm sure it makes like last night's gathering that much richer. So
It really does.
I mean,
yeah.
that's really, really neat. Really neat. Great organization. And I always enjoy getting to know more folks. I got to meet some more people from SA Communications, and so, shout out Cherokee Media. Hey, question. Chris asks, how many locations does A.I.M have? And it seemed like in that article, So that was the first one. Is that right?
Their first one. That's their first one, and they didn't really put a exact number of how many they want. During Tim Frank's remarks at the event at the tour, he said potentially upwards of 20 or 30 or 40, but
Right.
but then this one is the first one. Yeah.
Well, a lot will go into that box
Yeah.
to make it the well-oiled machine, because I think in your articles talk about if you're a dealer, shoot, man, you get to the point where you just start buying vehicles, send it to the box, not even worry about it, right? And then you have more you can sell, and then let's get some more in the box. And so it's pretty cool. I mean, it'd be a lot to build that, tight facility. So we'll stay tuned to that. Thanks for the question, Chris. I appreciate it. Joe and Nick, thank you both so much for taking the time tonight to join me. And,
absolutely.
Thank you
really
guys for having
appreciate it.
us.
Yeah, always good to be on the show and talk with you, Jack.
All right. Well, we'll be in touch again in the coming weeks and months. Maybe we'll touch base again around NADA time. If there's anything in the meantime, let me know how I can help. Thank the animals for me. They were so good.
Yeah, I picked mine upstairs. Told the 3 dogs I had to go stay up on the bed upstairs. So.
Oh, that's a good dog. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I'm going to let you go. Wrap this show out. I'll talk to you
Take care.
soon.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thanks,
Bye.
gentlemen. Okay, bye-bye. That's the end of the show. Thank you so much. All right, cool. So this is it's a special treat to have Joe and Nick on. ATI, mic check 1, 2, 3. I always do that. I like to check the microphone at the end of the show. See, there it is hot. So I guess we're okay. Of course, I want to thank Murphy Auto Transport, Superflow Systems, Dealerslink, and Auto Hauler Exchange. Thank you, Auto Remarketing, Cherokee Media, Used Car Week, Auto Intel Summit, Bill Zadites, the entire gang, hashtag Used Car Week. Really do appreciate you. If you missed the show live and you watch it on demand and you have a question, you can put it in the comments below. I'll make sure that Joe and Nick see this. Be sure, go to autoremarketing.com. I really do highly recommend this. I check out this publication pretty much daily, definitely weekly. You got the podcasts, you've got the articles, retail, wholesale, technology, financial, and so much more. So do that. If you have any questions, please leave a comment in the live chat. We're going to be back on Thursday on Dispatching Live. We've got Michael from Peach Transport. So we're going to be doing another down-home auto transport show, talking about central dispatch, carrier rates, and a bunch of different random news. There was a question for Brian that he answered about FMCSA Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse. You won't like the answer to that one. We're probably going to talk more about brokers and this truck safety stuff, and man, there's a lot of logistics stuff to talk about. So we'll be back on Thursday to talk about that. I'm going to run the car hauler. Thanks so much again for another great show, and we'll see you again soon. Peace out, everybody. Thank you. Good night.